I'm Tom Heiler, the Director of Umpire Training for the NCAA, and welcome to the third video bulletin of the 2015 season. The first situation I want to discuss today falls under Appendix E in the rulebooks, Getting the Call Right. In this first clip that we're going to see, we have a two-man crew having to make a tough decision on whether a ball is a home run or not. This base umpire is having to make the call from the middle of the infield, which, as we all know, can be very difficult. After the home run is signaled, the defensive coach disagrees with the call and immediately comes out onto the field. First, this coach should not be allowed to come onto the field until all the runners have reached home. The home plate umpire in this situation should be in a position here to tell the coach to stay off the field until this play is completely over. The main purpose of this clip is to look at how the crew handle the getting the call right procedures in the NCAA rulebook. First, as the coach is coming out onto the field, first take note of how the umpire is walking very aggressively into this coach and actually making the coach backpedal several steps. Let's work on meeting together in the infield in a manner that is not so aggressive. Next, this exchange goes on for a few seconds. The umpire actually starts to walk back to his position at first base and then stops and agrees to go to the home plate umpire for help. In this situation, if you are not 100% certain that you have this call correct, you should be going for help sooner and prior to walking away from the coach and trying to go back to your position. Now for the most important and critical element of this play. Prior to the umpire going for help to his partner, he needs to stop and very thoroughly explain to the head coach the NCAA playing rule that states, before you go for help to your partner, the requesting head coach is required by rule to go back to his position. If his position is the dugout, then he needs to be completely in the dugout before you go for help. Also, prior to the coach returning to the dugout, you need to also indicate to the coach that, by rule, if the call is not overturned, you are not allowed to come back out onto the field to discuss the call, and he is not entitled to any further explanation. Let's listen in on another umpire doing exactly as the protocol states during the 2014 College World Series.
You just need to get some help because your head down was when the ball dropped. He had clearly run by the bag. When he hit the ground, the ball dropped, but he had possession of the ball.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll go to
please
Travis.
just get some help.
No problem. I'll do that. Hold on, Tim. Just go to the dugout, though. Let me get together with them. Just make sure you go all the way to the dugout. Whatever. All right, just make sure you go to the dugout. Whatever we have out here, okay? Correct.
I got this.
Okay.
I know how this is going.
Okay.
Now, in watching this video, it's very obvious to me that the crew did not discuss this with the head coach prior to returning him to the dugout. You'll also notice here in the video clip that the coach never did return to the dugout. So before this continues and any discussion takes place, this coach is required to be back inside the dugout. Now, the crew is taking their time discussing the play. The two options are either a home run or a ground rule double in this particular situation. Let's make sure that before you break this huddle, that the initial calling official gives the appropriate signal. This was done in this clip. Nice job. Next, as the crew indicates the home run call will stand, the coach starts to come back out onto the field. At this point, an immediate stop sign needs to be put up by both members of this crew, and they should immediately be telling the coach that by rule, you cannot come back out onto this field. Once the coach does ultimately come back out on the field, he is now immediately ejected. Let's remember that when an umpire ejects any individual, the ejecting umpire should immediately turn and walk away, and one of the non-calling officials should immediately come into the situation and walk the ejected individual off the field. In situations where the coach prolongs his argument, he should be warned by the non-calling official, and the non-calling official should be the one in most cases issuing any suspension for prolonged arguing. Next, when there is an ejection that carries a suspension, one of the non-calling officials are required by the NCAA rulebook to notify the acting head coach before the ball is put back in play that the individual is ejected and that there will be a suspension. Lastly, just to reiterate to everyone, every ejected player or assistant coach will serve a minimum of a one-game suspension for every ejection. This includes malicious contact. It is not possible under the NCAA playing rules for a player or an assistant coach to be ejected that they will not be serving a minimum of a 1-game suspension. Thank you very much for watching this week's NCAA Video Bulletin. If you have any comments, concerns, or questions, please do not hesitate to contact our program. Thank you.